Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Sack, and I am the Senior Director of Conference Programming. I hope you have all been enjoying the content this week. I am really excited about it, and I'm excited for what is to come. We still have upcoming keynotes that include Nabir Ayers on Thursday, Beck on Friday, and Michelle Zauner of Japanese Breakfast closing it out on Saturday. And a reminder, if you would like to ask a question today, please use the Slido Q&A platform that is located in both the South by Southwest Go app and the online schedule. And now for our next speaker. Science, it is a universal language, something interest-sparking, to be constantly studied, explored, a language that can bring people together for new discoveries. And the U.S. National Science Foundation is helping to facilitate research across many disciplines, making these things possible in the hopes of improving so many different areas of our lives and of the world. Dr. Sethuraman Panchanathan, also known as Panch because it is hard to say that name, is the 15th director of the U.S. National Science Foundation, an $8.5 billion independent federal agency charged with advancing all fields of science, technology, and STEM education. As a scientist and engineer, his work has advanced areas of human-centered multimedia computing, haptic user interfaces, and technologies for empowering individuals with a range of abilities. I am so excited to hear about what's in store for this agency from him. So please welcome to the stage, Dr. Sethuraman Panch. Dr. Panch.
Thank you, Monica. Good to be here. Thank you. Good morning to all of you. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. I just wanted to start off by saying Monica talked about science, and science is always about exploration. And I would say that we are all explorers. We are constantly exploring our environment. Right from the point that we were babies, we started to look at the world through these eyes of curiosity. By touching, by feeling, by looking at colors, by looking at environments and seeing what might be, crawling, walking, running, all of this is what makes exploration possible. And then that explorer mindset that we have in us is something that stays with us all through our lives. That's what makes us creative beings. That's what makes us constantly be in the vanguard of innovation. If you take that mindset that we have as explorers and now start to focus on this much more intentionally, then you will find that every one of us in every instance will be looking at every situation and seeing how we might find better solutions, better pathways, so that we may achieve better outcomes. My own journey as an explorer, of course, started with being a small kid. But I can identify a moment that sparked my curiosity probably to the fullest extent. That was when I was 8 years old. My father, who was a scientist and an explorer himself, took me to this amazing event when I was 8 years old, to the US consulate where I grew up in Chennai. And they had the exhibit of the moon rocks that have been just brought back after the mission to the moon when the Apollo 11 went and came back, with the amazing, amazing experiences that the astronauts had, with the amazing work that made even that possible by scientists and other explorers, thinking about innovative ways of building this unbelievable device that took the men to the moon, made them pick up the stuff from the moon, brought it down, and even better, that United States would then send it all across the globe for children like me to be able to see it and feel excited and inspired. If I can say it this way, that truly was a STEM spark moment for me. It really made me wonder about what science, technology, and the explorative human spirit can achieve. As I said, I was just blown away by that experience. I learned that this STEM spark is resident in all of us, and a right environment, like what I had, thanks to my dad, I was able to get that spark ignited. My father did more than that. He was a great mentor as an implicit person without teaching me explicitly, by being what he thought was exciting to him, which is science. He loved science. He loved exploration. I watched him every day, and I learned by the implicit messages rather than be influenced by the explicit advice or things that he said that I should do. I thought that implicit messages were much more powerful for me. Fast forward 20 years, close to 20 years, close to 2 decades. Here I am, drawn by this mentor. The mentor, I talked about the implicit mentor in my father, seeking a mentor to do my doctoral degree in Canada. I was drawn to this mentor by reading his work. And so I had the opportunity of working with this amazing intellectual being. Dr. Morris Goldberg is his name. And I started working with him. Again, I watched the way he operated, how inspirational he was. He taught me about independence. He taught me the value of interdisciplinarity. He taught me the value of innovation can result in impact. Again, I could see that innovation is something that was ingrained as I am going through my own journey, step by step. I then started engaging in my own pursuits in research and enjoying the science and technology innovations that not only was made possible by my work, but more importantly by the work of many, many others, particularly my students that were working with me. Fast forward another 10 years. I literally have a midlife crisis. I am sitting in my office. I had probably published a couple hundred papers. I had gone deep into understanding what image processing, computer vision, parallel processing, and all of these concepts in computer science were. I had worked in these areas. I even worked in the standards at that time that were evolving for images and video called JPEG and MPEG, which is now a commonplace these days. But I had this moment, as I said, the midlife crisis, thinking about, is this what I want to do for the next whatever number of years that I want to continue to explore and enjoy for the love of science that I had and I have? Or do I want to do something that can actually make a difference in a way that I can actually see that, experience that, be a part of that, and enjoy that even more? As I was thinking about what can I do and how can I have my work focused on advancing humanity and societal progress, and more importantly, how those aspirations can further influence my work, one of my colleagues brought up this idea. He said, how about you work with individuals who are visually impaired and blind? Having worked in image processing for many years, it sounded almost antithetical. I have processed images for people who can perceive images. Now I am being potentially asked what I could do for people who cannot perceive images. Although it sounded antithetical, it almost sounded perfect to me. I said, this is perfect. This is what I should do. But then, not knowing what it is to work with individuals who are blind and visually impaired, I decided to venture into this idea of focus groups, which is typically not the academic thinking of how do you configure where do you want to work, what topics do you want to pursue. But I chose to want to get to know more about what it meant to work with individuals who are blind and visually impaired. Not only the individuals who are blind and visually impaired, but also their family members, their teachers, their friends, so that I get a complete holistic picture of what it means to work with individuals who are blind and visually impaired. How can we enrich the daily lives of those individuals who are so highly talented and ready to express the talent given the opportunity? So in these focus groups, I had one focus groups with post-secondary education adult students and their friends and others, and a second focus group which was around children, their teachers, and their parents. I remember very vividly a young girl, probably 8 or 10 years old, walked up to me and said, "Can you make possible this for me? My counterpart sighted kid can walk into a library, pick up a book, open it, and read it as naturally as you would expect a kid to read a book. Yet, when I walk into a library, I do not have the same experience. Would it be possible for you to build something for me so that I can walk into a library, pick up a book, and read as naturally as my counterpart, sighted friend?" It sounded so simple. It sounded so worthy of engaging in this kind of an effort to see if we can deliver that for the child. Likewise, a post-secondary education adult student told me, when I walk into this room, there are a lot of people in the room. I do not know who is looking at me. I do not know who is who unless they have a voice signature that I can recognize them by. And I do not want to wait for them to come and greet me. I would like to know who is in the room, where they are, and if they are looking at me, so that I can then be the one that greets that child, greet that friend. I thought it was a simple enough request, but yet it was not accessible. So these kinds of inputs set off my aspiration to want to build an environment with technologies, devices, and tools that can assist individuals with a range of visual impairment and blindness, to see if we can provide those tools that can make their life much more enriched and fulfilled. And as I said, get their explorer mindsets fully exercised in every possible way, with no challenges whatsoever. I learned a lot through these focus groups. I learned about the challenges, but most importantly, I learned about humility. Humility to know that at the end of the day, what you take for granted as a sighted person or a person with certain sensory abilities or cognitive abilities is not something to be taken for granted. That if you want to serve those individuals, then you need to be humble enough to ask them what is it that they would like, rather than imposing your technology or your innovations on individuals who are blind or visually impaired. Fast forward 10 years. After my midlife crisis, we created this new Center for Cognitive Ubiquitous Computing, focused, as I said, on technologies and devices for assisting individuals with a range of disabilities. And I will come to the word disability in a moment. So fast forward 10 years after the formation of the center, or a little bit less than 10 years. This was the year 2007. I heard a knock on my door, my office door. Walks in this student. His name is David Hayden. David Hayden is a visually impaired student who is a double major in math and computer science at the university. He's a freshman student, a very bright student. He walks into my office and he tells me, Dr. Panch, I am a double major in math and computer science. I am finding that these courses are becoming harder and harder for me because I don't have access to the information when I go to my classes that is in front of me on the board. And it is hard for me because in math and computer science courses especially, I go from step 1 to step 2 to step N, and I do not know what is going on. So I need help. I need help to be successful. I told David, David, the best person that can help is yourself. You are the one that understands this impediment the best. You are the one that understands this challenge the best. Who better can find the most innovative solution than you, David? How about I get you to come to my lab, surround you with other undergraduate, graduate, postdoc, and even high school students that work in my lab. Let them all work with you, but you are going to be the designer of this amazing set of devices that is not only going to make your life enriched and you empowered, but also people like you, David, that are going to benefit from this. David took me up on this offer. He came and started working in my lab in his sophomore year. Mind you, this is an undergraduate student. I want to underscore this. An undergraduate student, visually impaired, just out of the freshman year. He started to work with me in the sophomore year. And immediately, he built this wonderful interface, a laptop connected with a USB interface to an off-the-shelf camera, that he was able to now get access to that information that was not available to him through the camera into his laptop, so that he might then be able to get access to that information. Simple enough, but yet was not done. So he built that. But he didn't stop there. He took that interface and he started to work on the software pieces to make sure that it is easy to capture videos of the lecture. It is easy to take screenshots of the board. It's easy to able to tag notes, course notes along with these pictures and videos. And he started to work on this, took his exploratory, innovative mindset to the highest levels. And now he had this rich set of course notes that his sighted counterparts came to him and said, David, can you please share your course notes with us? And so here, David has the rich course notes that his counterparts didn't have. And so now he was sharing his course notes with others. Not only that, he started creating this interface and sharing it with other visually impaired students, and did even better. He worked with students from the design school. He worked with students from other engineering departments. And he got them engaged to redesign this in a way that it was ergonomically so easy. He had multiple versions of this and excited those students also in believing that they can exercise their innovative spirit. No wonder. These students then gave him more feedback. He refined his devices even more. All of this in his sophomore year and his first semester of junior year. He had this wonderful interface. With a click, he could get this done. With a click, he could get that one. He called them hotkeys to make it very simple for him to navigate. And then came about this amazing competition called the Microsoft Imagine Cup. So David came to me and said, Dr. Punch, I would like to submit my prototype to the Microsoft Imagine Cup. I said, sure enough, David, you've put all your innovative mindset into this and created this phenomenal device that not only you are using, but others are using. Let's do it. He submitted it to the competition, and these competitions bring in ideas not only from undergraduate students, also graduate students. So he submitted it to the competition. Of course, he won the competition at the university level, and then at the state level, and then he went to the regional level. I was in Arizona. Went to the regional level where he beat students from Stanford and Berkeley and others. There were 11 categories in the Microsoft Imagine Cup. This was in the touch and tablet category that he went for. Then he went to the national competition. He beat the students from all universities in the nation who had ideas in that category. He won the national competition. I just want to draw you all back to this point. He's now a junior student, a junior year student. Okay? Just let's keep that in mind. Now he then goes to the world competition in Poland. 325,000 entries in these 11 categories. He called me at 3 a.m. from Poland. It was 3 a.m. for me. He called me from Poland. And he told me, Dr. Punch, I won the world competition. I will let that sink for a minute. A student who came to me with a problem that he faced, that he felt would limit his ability to exercise his intellectual and innovative spirit, 2 years later, wins the world competition. Not only we were moved by this, but this inspired David to do more and inspired all the other students to do even more. He challenged himself again the next year. Went to the software design category, won the national competition again. And then went on to do his PhD at MIT. Founded a company that could manufacture this device called the note taker. Why am I sharing this with you? This experience taught me that the innovative spirit, the exploratory spirit, the mindset is in everyone, no matter who it is. It taught me that it is our responsibility to make sure that we provide the environment for that innovative mindset to manifest and express itself. It taught me, and David taught me, a lot more. He taught me that by working across disciplines, bringing people and inspiring all of them, you can actually do real good things for people, like himself and others. He taught me the most important lesson, that disability is a concept. That it is all about a range of ability. It is not a disability. If disability is a term, all of us are disabled. One form or the other. As I was sharing yesterday in a panel, if I switch off the lights in this room for a moment, we are all visually impaired. And by the way, we are 180 degrees blind right now. We don't know what's going on behind us. So blindness as a disability is a concept. And if you want to really explore and find creative solutions to challenges like visual disability or any disability for that matter, and recognize that disability is actually a range of ability, that innovations should be focused on how do you enhance the range of abilities. And those range of abilities being enhanced by a situation or an environment or whatever that might be, aging, for me, for myself, that causes certain kinds of abilities being reduced. I move the range to the left rather than the right. how do I ensure that I make possible this range of ability enhancement for all? That innovative mindset is in everyone. It has to be unleashed given the right environment. And that by that sheer determination, the intention that David had, the intention to make sure that he is going to find the solution, that intention is what made him unleash the power of innovation. And then the lab attracted more students like David. Walks in Laura Bratton, a psychology undergrad. She walks in. She says, Punch, I became blind a little bit later in my life. I know what colors look like or feel like. I know about shapes. I would like to see how we can translate color into touch primitives that I can still relate to the color red or the yellow or whatever. So she came in and she worked in the lab and she designed an amazing device, a touch device that she participated with some of my other students and unleashed her innovative potential. She then went on to do a master's in divinity school and then became a minister in her own way serving humanity. That spark, the spark that she can actually make things happen for people like herself and others, did not stop necessarily with only more technological innovations, but manifested itself in so many other ways and other forms that impacted human life. This power of innovation, as you can see, is amazing. And I'm watching these play out real time, like a movie in front of me, as the years are passing by. Fast forward another 10 years. I'm sitting in my office and now I am the vice president of research of the university. I have learned the power of innovation can be unleashed that is in every student of this university and therefore every student of this nation. I'm learning this. Here is the situation that comes about in the university. How can we build a framework that can unleash the innovative mindset in all the students of the university? So we launched a program called Luminosity. All we did was give students a chance to convene, to identify the problems that they want to solve themselves, identify the team that they want to configure themselves, identify the solutions themselves, then give them a few shekels here and there to see if they can build those into tangible devices themselves. And here and there a few pizzas to get them working all through the night. That's all we did. So one student, Chelsea, one day, she said, I often go from my apartment to my department and department to my apartment at odd hours in the evening and night. But I feel unsafe. Not that the campus is unsafe, but she felt unsafe. She said, instead of picking up the blue phone that is on campus everywhere to ask for help, for somebody to walk with or escort, I would rather that we build a device that can help me do this myself. So she brings this problem to a group of students from different disciplines, all sitting and brainstorming this. Again, undergraduate students, either they are freshmen, sophomore, junior, or senior. It doesn't matter, no labels. Innovation has no labels. It's a spirit. So therefore, these students all gather up and they are discussing this. She says, shouldn't it be possible? We have drones now. We are talking about now the year 2015, 2016, just to put this in perspective. We have drones now. Shouldn't we be able to do something about this? So she says, why not we build a drone? And the electrical engineering student in that group says, oh, I would love to build a drone. I don't want to buy an off-the-shelf drone. I want to build it. The computer science student says, I want to program the heck out of this drone. And they're ready to fly it. So the drone can be invoked by an app, and Chelsea can ask for the drone, and the drone flies with her from the apartment to the department, and the cameras on the drone are connected to the police station. It is more a deterrent than anything else, but if there is a need for any help, that help would become available and can be invoked right away. So these students, design students says, I'm going to design all kinds of drones and how they should look like, not the nerdy drone, but it should look really fancy. So a design student then develops a book, literally a book, I had in my office this book, of various designs that look so sleek. And as they are getting excited to fly this drone, the policy student walks in and says, oh, you can't fly the drone. You know that you are in the Sky Harbor airspace and you are not allowed to fly drones unless you have special permission to do so. So that student then writes an exemption to the FAA to fly a drone, and here it is. The drone is ready to fly for what Chelsea needed. Every aspect of what it takes to solve a real problem identified by the student, worked on by a group of students, matured by the group of students, and then here it is ready to fly. What it taught me again is that innovation can be unleashed at scale. Innovation is everywhere. It taught me that innovation can be enriched by inclusion. It taught me intention speeds up innovation. Therefore, intention and inclusion can strengthen, can speed, and scale innovation. Yes, the innovative spirit is in all of us. The exploratory mindset is in all of us. But it takes a set of things that we need to do to unleash that set of latent innovative mindsets that all of us possess. Fast forward another 5 years. Here I am now at the National Science Foundation, the year 2020. As soon as I came to the National Science Foundation, I made it very clear that we are going to have inclusion as an intention. We are not going to do anything that does not have inclusion as part of the fundamental fabric of how we are going to operate in the agency. Not that it was not there, but as I said, it is one thing to be there, it's one thing to actually get it to become an intention so that it can manifest itself. We also said that we are going to be scaling this innovative mindset that I have seen firsthand, that now clearly is all across the nation, all across all the socioeconomic demographic, all the rich geographic diversity of the nation, rural, urban, all the racial ethnic diversity that we have, the richness that we have in our nation, all levels, all the way from high school, K to 12, all the way up. And how might we create these crucibles of innovation everywhere across the nation? And that set forth the journey of how we might build with intention. At NSF makes unbelievable things possible. There are many, many examples of amazing stories that I have told you, thousands of stories or hundreds of thousands of stories of individual explorers who have exercised their innovative mindset and touched by the things that happen by and through NSF investments. That's what it should be doing. How do we now strengthen it at speed and scale? So I am thrilled that today we are announcing the first step in the launch of a new directorate of technology, innovation, and partnership at the National Science Foundation. This cross-cutting technology innovation partnership directorate will unleash innovations all across the nation. But this is the first critical step that we are taking. We need now, and that's thanks to the great support that we receive from the administration and Congress. But now, we want to continue to work with the administration, who are greatly supportive, and the bipartisan support that we get from Congress, fully supportive of unleashing this innovative mindset and innovative spirit, and therefore guaranteeing prosperity across the nation through a bipartisan innovation act that is going to make possible the next important steps of unleashing innovation all across the geographies of the nation. Make sure that talent and ideas that are democratized all across the nation are lifted up at speed and scale, so that we might guarantee prosperity, economic vibrancy, societal prosperity, economic vibrancy, and clearly stay further ahead and be in the vanguard of global competitiveness. I am thrilled that we are going to be doing this at National Science Foundation, but not working alone. The strength of partnerships is what is going to make all of this possible. We are going to be working with every agency, like the NSF, other agencies, states, cities, K-12 systems, community college systems, university systems, entrepreneurial systems, venture capitalists, industry leaders, industries, you name it, foundations, international partners, so that we might build this rich future which is based on this fundamental core of innovation, innovation, and innovation. Because, going back to NSF has unleashed amazing innovations. But that's because it is the place where we have this amazing DNA, if you want to look at it that way. The DNA of NSF makes possible amazing explorations. The curiosity-driven, discovery-based explorations. That then makes possible unbelievable translations and innovations at speed and scale. And it is not just one way. We all know that these innovations then make possible more explorations. And this rich, symbiotic, and synergistic nature of innovation, of how it goes back and forth and propelling more and more and more innovations into the future, is how we are going to advance, how we have been advancing. And now with this intentionality that I talked about, with this inclusive mindset that I talked about, we are going to be strengthening at speed and scale, and that it is not limited to a few geographies. It is not limited to a chosen few students, but it is going to be accessible for everyone, everywhere. Everyone, everywhere. That should be the mindset that we need to unleash everywhere. So we are intent on making sure that we do this. Because I'm convinced, as you have heard through my few stories that I was able to share with you today, I have many, many, many more stories. But in the interest of time, I'm going to refrain unless you have a question about a story, or that points me to a story. These innovations are primarily because of the fact we know. These innovations are because back to where we started. It is because of that exploratory mindset all of us have since we were babies. Giving that environment. The picture happens to be my 18-month-old granddaughter. I watch her every day. I watch her look at Lego blocks. I watch her look at how to paint. I watch her look at exploring away the environment, asking questions. Even though she may not be yet there in terms of words, I could see through her eyes what she's excited about, what she's curious about, what she's talking to me about. Her name is Anya. So through Anya's eyes, I can see that exploratory mindset every day. So if we don't have this inclusive, intentional way of unleashing the exploratory mindsets that all these children have all across the nation at speed and scale, how are we going to guarantee that we are going to have vibrant progress into the future? I know for a fact that Anya, through her exploratory mindset, is going to have opportunities, opportunities, and opportunities. She's going to therefore come up with innovations and innovations and innovations. As you can see, I have a lot of dreams for her. But that set of innovations is going to make our world a better place, a better place, and a better place. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. So what do I want from all of you? It's not a one-way street, you see. I want from all of you your partnership. You're all unbelievably creative people that you're here at South by Southwest. You are creative geniuses in your own right, artists, musicians, scientists, technologists, entrepreneurs. Every one of you is an explorer. Every one of you is an innovator. How can I partner? How can NSF partner with all of you? But let's not stop there. How can you in turn get 100 more people into this orbit? The scaling of innovation is going to be made possible by innovators talking to other innovators, or innovators inspiring innovation by other explorers. Whatever that might be, it takes a village. It takes a village, it takes a country of innovators. And we are, as a nation, in the vanguard of innovation. No wonder. But we need to, again, I underscore, unleash this at speed and scale. Therefore, I call all of you to action. How can we get innovation through inclusion and intention strengthened at speed and scale? Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with all of you today. I'll now take questions if you have. Unfortunately, the clock is not working, so I said I'm going to be innovative. I'm just going to have a mental clock, and I just counted down so that we'll have time for questions. I hope my mental clock was okay. Right? That's what, I've learned something from David, talking about David. I used to sit in my office, worry about this faculty member, that problem, this problem. And I look at this guy, David. He's just so interested in solving problems. He's so energetic and vibrant. And I look at him and I say, boy, if David is this energetic and vibrant, shame on me for talking about how somebody cut me off in the traffic that morning and making that the biggest deal of my day. So, when I don't focus on somebody cutting me off in traffic, I think the clock not counting down is okay, relatively speaking. So, let's look at the questions here and we'll see if we can engage with some of them. So can somebody point me to a clock in terms of where we are? Sorry? 15 minutes left. Okay, got it. What can we do to ensure that science and engineering become and stay more diverse? I think, every one of us has got a role in this. Oftentimes, we think that somebody is going to solve this problem for us. Every one of us have a role to play in ensuring diversity of science and technology. Let me give you an example. The other day, NASA asked me if I will interview astronauts who are scientists working in space, Kate Rubin and Victor Glover. And I interviewed them, and I made sure that I asked the questions in a way that 8th or 10th grader can get excited by. What's going on? Share how exciting it is to be up there. Share your own journey about how you got into science and what makes it exciting for you to work there, and so on and so forth. And then it was shared with many, K-12 institutions. Many people wrote to me and said that this was truly exhilarating for students to see these two astronauts talk about their life journey and being able to relate to them. Every day, we come across so many K-12 students and other folks that we can all try to inspire every day. Having said that, at NSF, what we are trying to do is to see if we can do more through programs and partnerships. Working with high schools, working with middle schools. I don't know how many of you know that the Magic School Bus program was funded by NSF. Okay? I'm sure many of you, generations of you were touched by that. At least I saw my daughter and son both being excited by Magic School Bus, right? Likewise, Cyber Chase. It's a PBS program funded by NSF too. Sci Girls, funded by NSF too. So NSF will do more, has to do more, and no question about that. But that alone will not be enough. All of your partnerships, every one of us, it takes, as I said, to see how we can inspire more and more people and take the message to the places that are not included, engaged. How we can expand the diverse cohort of students that needs to be engaged in science and be excited by science, the love of science. So every one of us has a story, and it's time to story tell. And so in addition to what NSF is doing and will do, I implore all of you to do your part and implore others to do their part, because that's what is going to get it done. Otherwise, the problem is too big for any one agency or a group of individuals to think that they can solve it by themselves. At least I don't believe that that's the way we will solve big problems. Grand challenge problems require all of us coming together. Climate change, all of us come together. All perspectives are important, not just science and engineering. Social, behavioral sciences, humanities, arts, everything needs to come together to solve these grand challenge problems. How can science and art work to inspire? Oh my God, so many exciting ways that science and art can work together. I will tell you a personal story. When I was early in my career, we had launched a new program called Arts, Media, and Engineering, the fusion of arts, media, and engineering. And two dancers, B.B. Miller and Wilty Jones, came up, and they wanted their art to be archived for posterity. So we worked with them with the technological, all these markers being put on them, captured their dance movement so that can be engaged with and interacted with by future generations. But that's not what I'm trying to finish with. But what that led to was a very exciting, different thing. That project led to us understanding the value of art in enhancing human life, and human, in this case, rehabilitation. You know the message rehabilitation in my talk. So this is spinal cord injured patients who are trying to rehabilitate themselves. How do we get them motivated to do their exercises every day? So this project looked at that genre of music that you think you like the most, and you're sort of tuned to it the most. You play that music as you're doing the rehabilitation exercises. If you're not doing your rehab exercises correctly, the music will go out of tune. And you get cognitively, it bothers you. It bothers you, so you work hard to make sure that you bring it back into tune because you love that music. And so that's an implicit way of getting you to follow the exercise regimen. Here is music assisting in rehabilitation. I can go on and on and on about how art and science working together can unleash amazing innovations and innovative solutions and innovative outcomes. How will disability inclusion play into the new role at NSF? Or what else is NSF to push for the development and innovation into accessible technology? As I said to you, it cannot be just pushing disability into anything. It is really feeling this spirit that disability is a range of ability, and if you work in that, you're going to then unleash innovations for all, for everyone. The work that we did with individuals who are blind and visually impaired did not just only benefit people who are blind and visually impaired, but benefits every student now who wants to take a rich set of course notes. Or every situation where a person is challenged with visual impairment for a variety of reasons. So that's what happens. So on a more concrete answer, we do have specific programs focused on disabilities. In our education human resources, there are specific programs focused on individuals with disabilities. But the way I look at it is, when you look at the future of technology, when you look at the future of things like AI, this is going to inspire us to uncover a lot of problems that have not been solved, particularly in the world of people with a range of abilities, and therefore unleash innovations that's going to impact the entire humanity. So therefore, there is that implicitness, which is also there at NSF, in every program how we might do that better. Can you tell us more about this new TIP directorate? It seems so forward-looking. So this TIP directorate, at NSF, we have been doing an amazing job, if I can say so myself, because I've come more recently to NSF. I've been watching NSF as a National Science Board member and as a grantee. But I can tell you, there are unbelievable innovations that have been unleashed by NSF. Let me give you a few examples. The Small Business Innovation Research Program was a program that Qualcomm was funded in the 90s as a company. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar company. We all know that. Two graduate students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, wrote a proposal to NSF in 1994 for the Digital Libraries Project. In 1998, in their annual report, they talked about founding a company called Google, and we know what the rest of the story is. I can give you examples like this like no tomorrow. So the SBIR STTR program, and then the I-Core, which is a program that unleashes the entrepreneurial mindset amongst all the students and faculty members. This has made possible a number of new company formation, new entrepreneurial ventures, but most importantly, the entrepreneurial mindset being triggered, the entrepreneurial spark being lit. So that program. Another program called Partnership for Innovation. These kinds of programs that are at NSF, which has already made possible tremendous progress, innovative progress, are going to further be strengthened and enhanced as a first step. We are also going to be looking at how we might build regional innovation engines in all parts of the nation. You know, when I came into the agency, as a graduate student, I was inspired by the Bell Labs model, where practitioners, academic researchers, and others all work together in a place like Bell Labs, a fused entity. That amazing innovations came about because of that, including the transistor, which is part of everything these days. How do we unleash Bell Lab-like entities all across our nation through public-private partnerships? Bell Labs was clearly created by a company called AT&T. But now how can we unleash it everywhere? But not only that we're unleashing it everywhere, but we're contextualizing it to that place. Where else can you have the greatest crucible of innovation around agriculture, the future of agriculture, smart agriculture, and a whole lot more than in the states of Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois? It's the live-in laboratory. There are many other places too. Live-in laboratory for what we could do with the future of agriculture. We can imagine a regional innovation around those kinds of topical areas that not only unleashes innovation, but through that, it attracts more talent. We talked about the earlier question, how do we get more diversity? Because when we have in-place innovation happening, more people want to participate in that. More entrepreneurial ventures, more talent that is being inspired. So that's going to be part of how we are going to build that. Entrepreneurial fellowships. How do we take more intentional approach to expanding entrepreneurial opportunities, and a whole lot more. As I said, as the resources become available with this fantastic conceptualization of Bipartisan Innovation Act and others, and through partnerships, we are going to be able to get to scale these sets of programs so that innovation can be everywhere. I hope I answered that question. Can you tell us more about how entrepreneurs can participate and assist the NSF in its mission of unleashing innovation hubs across the country? Oh, a lot. When we talk about a particular region where the entrepreneurial vibrancy around a thematic area is rich, entrepreneurs can all contribute to this concept that I talked about, the regional innovation centers of excellence. How can you work with local economic development agencies? How can we work with the regions, the states, the cities? Having come from a state where I've seen it firsthand, working with the cities in the state and unleashing innovation, I know that we can get that done. But again, it requires coming together and doing that at scale. Yes? So others can hear your question, yeah.
What would be the biggest takeaway that I could take from your talk, if I may ask?
Okay.
Thank you.
The biggest takeaway is, as I said, innovation is everywhere. Inclusion strengthens innovation because we don't think of it that way. Intention speeds up innovation. And we need both intention and inclusion for unleashing innovation everywhere across the nation. Talent and ideas are democratized everywhere. Let's not forget that. They are not local to any specific place. It's our responsibility. When I say our, NSF, clearly. As a nation, yes, clearly. But every individual can participate in this. Everyone. No exception. So there's an America that creates cutting-edge innovations and an America where roads are barely drivable. How do we ensure innovation lifts off? Very good question. That's exactly what we are talking about. This is a chicken and egg situation. If you get more talent and ideas that are democratized everywhere, enabled, inspired, motivated, nurtured, and brought to life, then more. It's like an upward spiral. It's like an upward spiral. I have seen this, as I said, firsthand. Firsthand in the state that I came from, Arizona. How this upward spiral works. But you know when it works? When it works when the community works together in a partnership mode. Everybody taking a role and lifting this all up together. And we need catalysts like NSF. Very important catalysts like NSF. Investing and co-investing and energizing this upward spiral. I know it is possible. I know it can be done. You are identifying exactly the issue, why we need innovation to be everywhere and inspired everywhere. It cannot be in just a few chosen areas. That won't get us to this vision that you're talking about. How does the US public get to hold a stake in the fundamental research that it undertakes, which private firms then build on for profit? Let's be very clear. The innovative spirit that is unleashed by public investments, that private industry then makes possible at speed and scale, is what makes every one of our lives better. Let's not forget that. At the broadest level, all our lives are enriched and enhanced by the advancements that private industry does tap into in terms of the investments made by public investments with unleashing innovations. Let's not forget that. Now, we may talk about some being accessible, some not being accessible. I get your point. That's why accessibility, again, is a mindset too. That's why it's important that we need to make sure that the accessibility mindset is brought in even as we are exploring a way, even as we are building our innovative potential. When we come out and do the things, this accessible mindset will always inspire us to do better for everyone. Whether it is private industry, whether it is an entrepreneur, whether it is a public servant, it doesn't matter. It touches us all. I call it an infection, but these days I stay away from talking about infections. Because then we will then come up with a vaccine. We don't want a vaccine for this infection. What we want is more people inspired, more people touched, and more people therefore ready to act. Action is important. I think we are done with our time. Bring your questions to us. We will be happy to answer them online or one-on-one, whatever it is. Don't hesitate to bring your questions. I hope you found this something that will be a takeaway. I'm glad you asked that thing. A takeaway that you will go back and ruminate and most importantly engage, partner, so that we can all act together. I call you. Thank you. Thank you.